Kisiangani, a lady whose work I follow fervently, her name is Loretta Young, once said that wearing the correct dress for any occasion is a form of good manners. And I couldn't agree more. We come from the part of the world in East Africa, for those watching from across the globe, where we don't care so much about how we look, especially men. I have to give women credit. Women bother themselves with how they look. I mean, if you walk around the streets of Nairobi, you see some effort.
Yes.
Women smell good, they have nice clean nails, and they tweeze their whatever, those with funny nails, like, try and put acrylics and so on and so forth. But men have failed tremendously.
Kenyan men.
Especially.
Yeah, like personally, even for these shoots, our dresser Maureen had to really take him on. No, I want you in the red shirt. I'm like, why should I wear the red shirt?
Yes.
I'm okay with the black one, which I wore 10 times. So
Yes.
we're actually, when I happened to travel, there was a time I traveled down to South Africa. That was the first time I noticed, why do I look so drab?
Yeah.
Because guys are dressed up, Because we went to the hotel, and then the guy said, "I'm gonna come pick you up," and then we step out.
Yes.
And then I was the only one who was still dressed in the the clothes I was wearing during the day to step out at night.
South African men try to hook it up. I lived in Johannesburg for a number of years, and I remember that. But the shock for me was when I first, about 7-8 years ago, when I went to New York the first time, and I landed at JFK. Went to where I was staying in the Bronx, and in the evening I went for a walk. And New Yorkers, especially African American brothers, hook it up, man. Like, guys have all these funky hairstyles. They smell good. Like, I was walking and looking at men, taking me, hey, hi. So what I did, I was lucky I had some loose money on me. I packed all my funny clothes from Nairobi, which I was buying in some funny place on Gong Road, and dumped them somewhere, and I went to H&M and put together a nice look.
But when you're here, you don't notice it.
Because
like, have you ever noticed most Kenyan men have the same haircut?
Yeah,
it's called number one. Yeah. Like, you can look in a crowd and say Kenya.
Yeah.
That's why it's so easy to tell, for cops especially. That's how they tell Nigerians.
Yes.
They just look at you and they're like, hey,
yes,
this guy, where are you Nigerian?
And you have to give it up for our Nigerian viewers. Nigerians really try. Matter of fact, one time, not once, more than 6 times in either here and I think another time in Qatar, a Nigerian was refusing that I'm Kenyan. Not to blow my own trumpet, but she just was persistent. She said, "Are you Oga? You're lying. You're Igbo." I said, "No, matter of fact, I'm from."
Look at Nigerian videos,
and
man.
I was showing her my passport, and she said, "Nigerians can be anything.
Yeah.
You can be Russian if you want it." I said, "No, I really am not." And she said, "I look like an Igbo man." But the point is, I think dressing up and about this conversation, it's quite sensitive to women, and also because men have also taken it a notch higher, and it's sad incidences where men strip women naked and those embarrassing things. That's not what we are advocating for. What we are saying is this: that dressing up is a form of good manners. For instance, if you've gotten an interview, I was just telling you before, and in the what is required, say it's a factory job, and they say you need to come with a closed toe, whatever, shoe, and then you come in flip-flops. The interviewer might dismiss you based on that. Okay?
Yeah.
So I think the idea for this conversation is to just have a very honest conversation about appropriate dressing. Etiquette, about attire. Say you're going to a wedding. Can you go to somebody's wedding in shorts? Is it good manners? I know we like to say, "Oh, I'm free." And most women have told me that my body, I don't dress for you, I live. This is my body, I've dressed for myself. But freedom is not absolute. You're going to Mudurwa market and you're going to pick tomatoes while bending. Does it make sense to you that then you wear the tiniest skirt? Okay? So it's just a matter of, sense. It's just a matter of sense. Nobody should, granted, lift your skirt up or try and tear your clothes. That's terrible manners. We're not condoning that. But we are saying, out of the purposes of common sense, would you feel adequate to walk like that? The other day I was in church, and I think I was discussing with you of the church service. And we sat, the order of my church is you sit, pray, you're welcome to the service, you sing later, clap your hands, pray some more, give your offering, pastor comes. A lady, and our church is properly organized. You know, every section has a door. So I was sitting on B1 section, which has a door. So every time I drive to church, park my car, walk to B1 door, then I turn left. Mm-hmm. It's very near. It's like here and here. Mm-hmm. So this lady, who was, sorry to say, skimpily dressed, the tiniest,
generously
endowed and very skimpily dressed, you guys. I think I could almost see her collar. What are these bones called? Mm-hmm. Hip bones. Yeah, I could see the hip bone almost. Mm-hmm. And she was quite fleshy. And her back, she had a bare back. Oh. So I could see from her uti wa mgongo, you guys, all the way up to the hair. And then she came from section A.
She came late, that's what you mentioned.
Yes, section A, when guys had sat, I think she was timing in the car. Hello? Wameanza kutoa sadaka wakikaa. Then you guys, she came from section A and walked slowly. She was strutting. And then she went to section B and C and D and E and went and sat at section F. Mm-hmm. So she made sure the entire church saw her gyrating.
It's quite uncomfortable.
Checking me.
That is funny.
And my neck was well. So I was just like, I thought to myself. So I said, I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist. I support egalitarianism. I support equal rights between men and women. And I strongly believe that men needn't tell women anything about their bodies. It's their bodies. I believe in that 100%. I have sisters who I love. I have female friends who I love and respect. But I feel like sometimes common sense should override.
Yeah, it's just common sense. Yeah. It's just common sense. I remember the story you were telling me about the lady in church who was dressed in a body-hugging, dress.
Yes.
And then she was really dancing.
Yes.
Checking ninatembea kwete kwete ninazunguka. So you're like, hey, unazunguka lakini.
Yeah.
And she'd tembea long legs.
And very pointing at you just.
So yes, it's innocent maybe to her, but
I don't think it's innocent sometimes.
Sometimes, okay, that's
it's just the same way. Let's not even talk about ladies so much because they'll start saying we are bashing them. Say, supposing I went to church with a low V. The other day I went shopping and I was seeing some check it. Then I go to church like that. That's not weird.
Yeah, that
I think even
with your chest hair,
with my chest hair checking me. It's funny, you guys. Yeah. So I think some of those things are just a matter of common sense.
For men also it's weird because I've met men over the weekend where I live. I don't know, it's because of the area. You find a guy, it's a weekend, he's wearing a formal shirt, a short, socks and formal shoes. So he's out with his kids and they are shopping. Like, I'm looking at him, I'm like, hey,
well, I mean, granted...
what kind of look is that? That's a terrible look.
Granted, fashion can be bought, but style is inborn. Like, I may think I'm killing it with my, leather brown shoes and my jacket, and somebody totally would have a different opinion. Maybe they'd wear these with sports shoes. Bless your heart. But what we're saying is just employing some little thought. Employing some little thought. I'm going to Emmanuel's child's christening in a church, and then we later go to their family lunch. In Emmanuel's family lunch, he will have his 74-year-old mom. Okay? That is not the opportunity to show your marshmallow breasts.
I remember when I was dating some Django chick. Djangos are quite well endowed. So we'd go to, there's a day we had a family event. So my mom was there with her Wamama, Wamaombi. So we walked in and she was wearing a serious hipster. So my mom dunga the check so like she voted it and that's called so she was okay, yes, granted she was offended, but I was like, why did you like we are going to see my mama and this they are conservative.
Yes.
Did you know that if you wear like ladies, if they wear like shorts here in the CBD, it would cause an uproar? And then if they wear those same shorts on the beach in Diani, nothing would happen.
That's exactly what you're talking about. It's just it's a matter of where am I, which I am even learning as a man. It's just where am I going? What's the function about? What is more appropriate?
But there's this narrative, ladies say like, that's not your problem.
That's exactly what we're trying to disabuse. I think it's your problem because what we fail to understand is that if you're inappropriate, it not only affects you, but it starts affecting the people you're with. Have you ever walked bumped into a skimpily dressed somebody you used to know, maybe you grew up together, and they're like, "Hi, Eriq," like in Tao, and you're like, "Oh my God." And then they want to come and squeeze you, checking, "Oh, guy, Aki, you look good."
So you look
And then they're like, "Leave me quickly so I run." Because guys will start telling you, "Hey, you guys, I've seen you in Tao with a chick with big. You don't want that. So it starts making the people you're with feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So the basis of this the conversation is, let's just
maybe just think ahead.
Just think ahead, kidogo.
Like those chicks who, when you're in a matatu, the matatu, you have to bend like this as you're getting off. Hey, take it. Hey, like everything is exposed. Yeah. So maybe you should just think ahead, kidogo.
Yeah, just employ some.
Because it also happens to men too. Many times about to get off the mat, pulling.
Yes. I think looking good is a sign of good manners. If you look good, people sort of address you much as. And again, I say this with all humility. You don't owe it to the respect or disrespect somebody because of how they look. But granted, it goes a long way in terms of making you comfortable first of all, and second of all, making the people around you comfortable.
But looking good should not mean expensive, right?
Yeah, no. Yes, that's the other thing. We like to think that if you wear grandiose, expensive, high-end watch and suits, and you're choking people with a cologne, which is another thing which I think is terrible manners. How people will choke you. Check you. Okay, that's funny, Mazi. I feel like too much of something is also weird. Yeah? The other day I was at Lavington Green Mall, and I suspect he was Nigerian. Nigerian can also be excess, Mazi. That guy, got into the mall. I don't know if you know how it's constituted. Like the door is over there, and I was at the edge of Art Cafe, and he's sent checking me. Hey, meka nini kwa hii kahawa? Hiyo ni Dolce Gabbana.
He said that God
he said that nini.
Check it. Do you have to smell me now?
Yeah. So granted.
But on the contrary, having cologne, that's another aspect.
It is.
Yeah?
I think
investing in... investing.
But it's also... Okay, cologne is expensive, you would say. Cologne? So you cannot start saying, all men should smell good. Maybe not in excess. But we're saying, also, Maze, some people sweat, they have high... what is it called? High respiration?
Body odor or what?
Maybe body odor, or they sweat a lot. Maybe
like I sweat a lot.
Yeah, you have sweat patches often. Not you.
No,
not in a bad way, but you have that understanding that I sweat a lot. Most people is as though they don't know they sweat. Check it. Sasa mlifika salama. Mlienda salama. Mlifika salama. Mlikuja salama. Check. Hiyo ni jasho inapanda kutoka kwa makwapa yako ikienda kwa shingo. They assume. I don't know if they assume.
How come the sweaty guy has a low accent?
No, but
attacking me consistently.
No, I'm just like, so there's that. So even buying roll-on but roll-on has become quite costly. I was checking the
but
other
tell
day,
you what,
there's
cologne in Tao, you can get a scent for like 100. Not even a tester. They have some roller thing.
Yeah.
At least buy for 100. It can last you a week.
Yeah.
But generally, I think one should think of their body odor.
A lot of women have told me that men, especially Kenyan men, care the least about their appearance. Some nails are very dirty, like super dirty nails. Or the guy can just laugh heavily. Then you see that he last brushed his teeth properly in 1994, August 9th.
You can see the chicken he ate on that day. Check you could cook.
Yeah, so it can be a bit funny. Alafu also socks. Guys don't change their socks. A guy can wear the same socks. Check zile socks huwa naeka hapa ziko wapi? Hizo socks za red. Unajua mnanikasirisha juu niliwaambia nikikuja asubuhi ujioni naeka hapa ndio nikitoka nivae tu kama nimeenda.
Which is another problem because sometimes a guy would remove his shoe and the thunderous smell from the shoe.
Yeah, and then they sit comfortably in your dick like they're not the ones.
And then they wonder where the harufu is coming from.
Mko. La lakini hii mmesema mnatupiga chai ya blue. How have you been? Check you personally fine. Smelling deals here and there. I'm smelling opportunities. Check.
I can smell
I'm choking to death. And you see, you can't leave them in your house.
Yeah.
So I think
like if you know you have sweaty feet, because I've told you I'm sweating, me have to wear cotton socks.
All right.
Otherwise, things will be thick, man.
That's interesting.
For real.
Anyway, but that realization.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
I think in my teen years, my mother would chase me and say that I smell like a dead mongoose. Like, unanukaje wewe? I think because my body was changing. My mother was.
I had a friend who used to, you had to warn him like in advance you're going to his house. Jackie, we are going to my house in the evening. The time it's in the morning because his shoes, he'd remove his shoes.
Yeah, so just basic thing. Underwear, which people don't want to talk about. I think most jamas, again from chicks, I hear, guys can have 2.5 underwears even. So he wears the underwear one on Monday, washes it. Then underwear 2, he chappers it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then he'll wear on Friday because he's going out, the Monday one. Then he chappers it for the weekend. I mean, guys, man, love yourselves. Wear at least a fresh, clean underwear daily. I don't know what saba. Buy 7.
I think it affects your self-esteem.
Yes. And then now you're walking. Unaenda hivi ronga alafu nipige hivi. Unaenda Valeria? And then it's tight, you guys, then you start your morning. I think that's tricky.
You know those moves.
I think that's quite funny, you guys. And then just change your underwear, so cut your nails, brush your teeth for long checking. You guys, you talk to some guys and they're like,
they hit you.
They hit you with the heft. And then those are the guys who love talking to you the long. I have a pal of mine who consistently has these things. Komachi, what is those things called?
I don't know.
And I'm just like, are you weak or paralyzed? Like, you can't remove this thing consistently every time I meet him.
Check those 2 things. Condition, you guys.
Check me. You have those things in your hand. And then I'm comfortable. I start rubbing my eyes. Checking me.
You keep. The funny thing is, you have to keep looking at.
He's just looking at those things, and then he talks, and he has a whole patch of matter here. Check your checking me. Why can't you suck that saliva? You guys, I don't know if that guy's tongue is weak. Why can't he do this here?
But you guys, our culture also affects how we dress and look.
Or picking your nose.
Picking your
nose. In a nice suit. Check it.
Especially in town. While scrolling your phone. Check
in the lift. Check it.
And they go far in. Check you guys.
Check kidole yako ni ndefu imepotea huko ndani. Kwa ndio nitade lama mapua hivi. And then they salamia you the first check it. Emmanuel, how are you? Check you. Check you're just picking your nose, man. I think you guys, Jamas, are really chopped.
But as I was telling you earlier, our culture, you know this dressing up thing is a new culture. Like in 1963, Juzi, we were walking around in Western Kenya with just blankets. And the weird thing is, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, Hollywood is so interesting. The West came to Africa and told us, listen, this exposing your body parts is bad. Cover yourself from top to toe. And then you go back to Hollywood and they are skimpily dressed. Like we invented the no-top. It's not Kinarihan. So I think there's an irony and there's also a culture history.
Well, but I think understanding causes all the difference. You see the same way guys come, and let me digress a little. Somebody goes to the States for, say, 3 months for a conference. 3 months is long. A month. They've gone for a symposium, they come back. Then it goes back to Chags, in say Gatundu or Nyanza. Then you start vibing your grandmother with an American accent. Okay? That is not sensible. It doesn't make sense. Your granny was never going to America. Hey, granny, how you doing?
Like she won't hear you.
What's this, man? Are you made porridge? That's weird.
Chicken, I'm cool, gran. No, America was tight. It was tight.
I'm chilling. I mean, that's really funny. So the thing, if we are to take that and put it on the culture and the conversation rather about culture and dressing, if I am in New Zealand, the Shaka guys, Shaka. I mean, they're very traditional. They have a traditional attire that they wear in the forest, in the bushes, in their shirts. If I was in Scotland, they wear the skirt. That's their culture. If I went to Masaini, or Letepis or whatever place, they tie the lassos and they have the rungu and chilero. That's their style. In Nyanza, women dress like this and men dress the other way, and central and so on and so forth. So the idea is you want to look at the occasion. That's why I started by the Loretta Young's quote. That dressing appropriately for occasion is just a matter of good manners. So that you're not in Masai land making the Maasais feel super uncomfortable
By
with
wearing a suit.
wearing a three-piece suit or a bikini. Checking, hello. It will be weird, So that's what I'm saying. I think it's just clicking and knowing that I'm in this particular space right now that is very different. This is not a suit and a tie event or place. This is not a shorts event. I think that goes along.
But where do we learn this etiquette? Common sense, huh?
I think common sense, and thank God we are having this conversation. Again, I keep saying very few people come back to report to us about what's happening in Ukombele.
My dad is a professor, and professors, I think they're so into reading that they just don't care how they dress.
Yeah.
Like he was always dressed, very big coat. You just know the image of a professor.
Yeah.
Big coat, sandals. On a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So
also, I'd say your dad is a child of his time. I mean, you can't start imposing excess fashion.
But it's true because my brother is also a lecturer, and he dresses well.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of interest. I think just cleanliness is, as they say, next to godliness. Just being in an atmosphere where you're clean and you're smelling better, understanding your body. You say you sweat a lot, so you employ cotton socks, or your hair grows after every 3 days, so you go for a shave every so often. My nails grow really quick. I think every 3 days I have to cut my nails because I don't want to start having that pinky weird things Jamas have. You remember that
long
thing?
one?
Check it.
I don't know. That thing is disgusting. What is that thing for, man?
That really annoys me. I remember guys in my estate when I was growing up.
Just keep on the left hand.
Yeah, it's a long bloody nails. It was for tickling someone. I don't know what it was.
That
for.
was the most.
But it was supposed to be dead. So you pick a punk or box and then you have that thing, and then you chill like this, posing. Yeah. So that's
Chiki amenda pale about anarudi. It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's just basic common sense. It's just I understand this is my body. This is what it does. And I understand this is the occasion where I'm supposed to go, and I ought to dress like this for that particular occasion. For purposes of being comfortable yourself, and for purposes of, making people around you feel good and comfortable.
Yeah, I agree with that. Comfort, like be comfortable in what you're comfortable in,
yes.
without affecting others. Yes. Look at many billionaires are very simple in their dressing. Remember Mark Zuckerberg was in Kenya the other day. That guy wears great t-shirts and jeans.
I find it tremendously drab though. I wouldn't dress up like that.
But he's comfortable.
But it's comfortable. If you're comfortable, sour. But as a billionaire I intend to be, I will not be wearing t-shirts, Joe.
Sometimes I wonder about it because in Africa is a very tropical. The weather here is tropical weather. So why do we wear this ties?
I think because we were properly colonized.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we wear ties and drink tea. The Brits worked a good one on us.
Yeah, because look at the Arabs. It's very hot. It's very hot. So I think colonization plays a part.
It does play a part, but I think just going forward, common sense need to be employed. Common sense need to be. And for the ladies who keep saying, "Oh, it's not in my place," you don't comment about how I need to dress. I'm not even saying that. I believe I speak for you when we're saying we are not saying wear this, wear that. It's not in our place. We're saying employ common sense. Employ common sense. You want to be comfortable, and truly, if you're comfortable in a miniskirt in front of the church pew, right next to the pastor, check it. Hallelujah. That's weird. Yeah. You can't say that you're comfortable like that. And I remember one time a lady was telling me that at the church, some woman went to her and said to cover her legs. I think you want to avoid that because it's just a couple of hours. You just want to go and pray and do your business there. It's not a fashion exhibition. You're not showing. It's not a high tea thing. It's a very spiritual, solemn moment. You don't want to now dig in and show people how you are properly endowed. I think.